Howdy folks, welcome to MOC-UP. This is going to be a series that we're going to be doing to help teach you some tips, tricks, and techniques that you can use on your own MOCs. And for those laymen out there, a MOC is a my own creation, MOC. This series is just, as I said, it's going to be going over basic tips, tricks, and techniques. I do not profess to be any sort of a master builder, but I have been building for a little over 20 years now, so I'd like to think I'm at least a little good at this, and I'm going to be imparting a lot of what I've learned onto you guys. As a quick note to any parents out there, don't worry, I have gone through my channel and I have done everything I can to make sure it is as family friendly as I can make it. You may, however, want to talk to your child about the comments section. I'm gonna do an experiment to see if we're gonna keep that, and if things just don't look good over the first couple of videos, we're just gonna end up cutting it. That does tend to be a toxic area, so to speak, so just talk to your child about that, and you decide what you are comfortable with them doing. So, on to the episode. Before we can really truly begin, we have to look at the different types of pieces there are and the different terminology used to name them. Now there are a ton of different pieces, and really most of them, probably my guess is 85 to 90% of them, are really just derivatives of the same three pieces. Actually, probably 4 pieces if we include slopes, but we'll get to those later. The 3 main pieces that you use are brick, plate, and tile. And pretty much everything else, as I said, is just a derivative of this. So one thing I do need to point out before we continue on is this here, these little studs, as we call them, the bumps on the top. As I just said, those are called studs. So a brick is the thicker one with the studs on the top, the plate is the thinner one with the studs on the top, and then a tile is the thinner one without any studs. So whenever you are referring to any of these, we have a special way that we go about it. Yes, we include color, yes, we include the type of piece it is, but you'll have to also include the dimensions. Now, you don't use inches if you're in the US or centimeters if you're anywhere else in the world. What you actually use are the studs, because they'll be universal for everybody. And you start with the smallest number first, and you go to the largest number. So for instance, this is a 2x4 brick. If you really want to get into it, it is a 2x4 red brick. This is a 4x6 plate in green. This is a 1x4 tile in blue. So we're going to just take a quick tour of this first. First of all, starting out front here, we have just a little pizza delivery truck. This actually came from an old set. I know we got it back, I want to say 2004, 2005, somewhere in there. But you can fit a couple of pizzas in here. But yeah, no, that came from an old pizzeria. And in fact, that's where this little sign piece and the awning came from. But most of the rest of this is my own design. So we'll go ahead and put that to the side there. And so yeah, this is the pizzeria. You can see we've got 2 stories here. Looks pretty cool. We've got the little sign and the awning. And we've got some outdoor seating, which I think came out pretty good. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. Alright, so we're going to start from the roof here and kind of work our way down the building. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to see up here on the roof. It's mostly just the roof, and we've got a little access hatch, and we've got a chimney over here. So we'll move on down to the second floor. So the second floor, we've got a set of beds here, and that's because this is a mom and pop pizzeria. This is owned by the two people who live here, so yeah, they kind of live above it. They also have like a nice little patio over here. Their son here is playing a video game because that's what the kids nowadays like to do. So, oh no, he fell apart. Okay. Now the beautiful thing about Lego is if something does fall apart, you can easily just put it back together very quickly. Look at that, that's already back together. Snap that on there, and it's already good to go. So yeah, we got the edge of the chimney there, and geez, I wonder what that could be to. Well, let's lift this up. Now you'll notice that the sign right here stayed even though it was part of the wall to the second story. And that was more for the structural stability of the sign than of the building. So if you have to make a concession for that, go ahead and do that. But as much as you want to try and keep your floors together all the same. So everything on the second floor comes off if you do this modular style. Everything on the third floor comes off with itself. Everything on the first floor stays on the first floor, that sort of thing. But I had to kind of do that just for the stability of the sign. So, we got the stairs on down. We've got a pizza oven over here, and real quick I want to point something out. The pizza does not fall off. There is no stud on the oar. That is just a plain old boat oar. Let me see if I can zoom in here so you guys can see a little better. That is just a plain old boat oar. How is it staying on? There's no stud on the boat oar. It's very simple. I'm using, don't know if you can see it, but just a little bit, you see that little white there? That's actually just a little bit of putty. You can use really any kind of putty. I use museum putty, but you can use something like probably silly putty. You could probably use a little bit of Play-Doh, although I really don't recommend using that. Use the studs as much as you can, but if you have a little scene where like this, where I wanted him to be pulling the pizza out of the pizza oven, you can use it. Just go very sparingly with it. Alright, so we got him, he's pulling the pizza out of the oven. We've got a prep counter back here. We've got the little drink machine here, the little tap thing. We've also got over here, pull it out, in that piece, yep. This is kind of like a Coke machine. So, put your coin in there, get your Coke. Yeah. Nice little use of parts. We've got the little checkerboard-y pattern that I found at a lot of small pizzerias, so decided to keep that in there. And we've got the little counter over here. We've got the sauce on the stove over there. We've got all the diners outside. We've got some lovely little flowers. And yeah, so that's most of it. So a little bit ago, you guys heard me talking about structural detail. And we're going to get into what I meant by that. Structural techniques. Turn this around real quick so you can get a good look at the side wall here. Let me see if I can get that to focus a little better. Alright, so it's a little hard to tell just because the background to this is white and this building is white. But if you can kind of see here, pieces are straddling each other. And this is a very simple technique, and you learn it fairly early on if you're building with Lego for any period of time, but it's very much the same way that real bricks work. I'm not joking about this. You literally straddle the bricks. So watch this. So this piece is on top of where this piece and this piece met. So when I put them together, and put this with it, those pieces are now much sturdier than if this was like this. See how much easier that came off. Let me actually hand that up so you can see a little better. Let me show you again. So this is the seam where they meet right here. And this straddles them, straddles the two pieces. You have all of that support. You have the support from this one and the support from this one, keeping everything together. So these two support this one, these two support this one, and these two support this one. So you have 3 layers of support. But if I move this over, watch. Well, that didn't prove my point very well anyway. Pick that up off the ground. If I just pull this off, you see how much easier that pulls off. So you always want to straddle your pieces so that they're always going over any seams. And I can show you with just these pieces here what I'm talking about. So watch. Take one piece, put another piece, that's your first layer. Where these two meet, you want to straddle it. Like so. Now, whoop. Works better in layers of 3. So now, see how strong that is? It's getting support from all the ones that are connected to it. So that is how you build walls that can support themselves. That each piece gives itself support. That is how you build walls. You build them so that each piece is giving support to the ones next to it, and the ones next to that, and the ones next to that. And you can build a pretty solid wall doing that. Alright, so second floors, and really any floor, works pretty much the same way as you do with the walls. What you want to do is you want to take your plates that are going to support the main floor section, and you want them to straddle the connections. So as you can see here, this piece here is down like that, and then is straddled. Let me get this piece back on there. Is straddled by this piece here. So we click that back on. Whoop. Put that on first. Put this back on. There we go. As you can see, there's now a strong connection right there, because it's straddling those pieces. And really, that's about all there is to it. It's a very basic technique, so it's not that hard to learn, and it's extremely simple to employ. Alright guys, and that is probably the most simple technique that we're going to do during this series. Just basic structural techniques there. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you can use that in your mocks. And yeah, so tune in next time. Next time we're going to be going over some more story-based stuff. How to tell stories with your mock. And yeah, so tune in next time. And in the meantime, keep building.